all you glorious guys and gals, to one of the best shows on the interwebs. This is Our Favorites. And in case you're new here, what we do is we talk about our favorite director, genre, collection of movie in general. And these past couple weeks, we have been working our way through the phases of Marvel. And now we are on our current phase. We made it all through phase 1. We made it through phase 2. We made it through phase 3. So today, we're talking
the worst phase.
Yeah. Phase 4.
The worst phase.
I have mixed feelings about this phase. I feel like the movies are drastically different, but there's no end in sight. That kind of throws me off.
And there's like no good movies.
Apart from that, I like it because for the first time in a long time, we have no idea what the roadmap is. We have no idea where it's going.
There could be a good or a bad thing.
There is something a little bit exciting about that, even if the movies that they are coming out with are, for the most part, boring.
Well, what is your favorite pick, though? Is your favorite pick boring?
No. No. This is kind of my.
And we're not counting the TV shows because now Phase 4 has.
Yes.
TV
No.
shows.
This is just the actual.
No WandaVision. No Captain Falcon, as we call it.
No. As amazing as Moon Knight was. No Moon Knight.
Don't spoil that either.
Yeah, I won't.
I haven't even gotten through. Hawkeye. I can't even get through the second episode.
Just finish it. So
how do I
get through that? Get through that boring show.
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, you gotta try to Clockwork Orange yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna call me. I'm gonna hear, stop it, please. I beg you.
But you know what you got the Clockwork Orange yourself for? Jake's pick, because Jake's pick is fantastic.
Okay, so I'm gonna admit this is my cliche pick. No Way Home.
Big shot.
I love it. It's the best movie of the bunch.
Easily.
Hands down. Hands down. And you know what? We all knew what was going to happen throughout the entire hype cycle. It was fun to watch Andrew Garfield try to lie about that. It was fun to watch, Disney and Marvel release like those weird YouTube videos that tried to disprove that he was in it. And we're all just like, yeah, right. You're lying. And then it happened, and it was every bit what we wanted it to be. Should I say what happened? Are we worried about spoilers?
We're going to say so far. Spoiler alert for No Way Home. Everyone on the planet basically saw this movie.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, but we're not. We're going to be courteous and say there are spoilers in this movie.
Okay. So spoilers. Who was in the movie?
Kirsten Dunst. No, in all reality, it's obviously Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And
really?
Yeah. Ooh. So the best way I can describe this movie walking out of it, I think I told you, it was just, I was satisfied with it. Like it was what I wanted it to be.
It's pure joy.
In like every possible way. It was what I wanted. It was not too much of the old characters. It was not too little of the old characters.
And some of the best moments are them just hanging out and talking.
Absolutely.
Interacting. That's it.
Just the three of them chatting together, like on that building.
But I will say that I was severely concerned about that movie, watching it outside of the theater, apart from the height, if it was still going to be a good movie. Mm-hmm. I am happy to report that, at least as far as my perspective, it is a better movie watching it at home.
I actually haven't seen it at home yet.
You're able to calm down. You know what's going to happen. It's not as hype. It's really well written. It's the best written of the new three Spider-Man trilogy. It's the best paced. It's got the best scenes. And it turns Peter Parker into who we want him to be, not some, I don't want to say snot-nosed kid, but...
Or punk.
Yeah. Punk. And like, it shows me that Peter Parker, that any good comic book hero needs that death, needs that tragedy to actually drive them. And I sort of think that that's what was missing from Homecoming and Far From Home. There's no tragedy to it. But at the same time, if they'd have had an Uncle Ben style death, in the first movie, we'd have been like, oh, it's just the same as the last one.
Right. Yeah,
But
that is shenanigans.
now we've had several years to get attached to, again, spoilers, Aunt May.
Mhm.
And so we really
I cried.
feel it.
You always cry.
I know, but I legit.
But it's not like I cried at her death. I cried in the dark, like at the darkness that he was in. Because as peppy as Tom Holland is, he pulled that off well.
He's a seriously talented actor.
And why does he pick things like Uncharted to act in?
Because
And
it's a
what is
big
it,
paycheck.
chasing
It's a big paycheck. Are you telling me you wouldn't want
Chaos walking.
Chaos Walking?
I mean, to be fair, I don't know.
Cherry.
To be fair, I don't know if he picked that.
Devil
or
All
it
the
is-
Time was alright.
What's that?
The Devil All the Time?
Yeah.
That was decent.
Or his agent. It's not him, it's his agent. Let's get real here.
We'll put it this way. Sorry, I'll put it this way. I honestly don't think he's that good of an actor. He's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's a type he can play, and he plays it. When he's playing Nathan, it's Nathan Drake, right?
Yeah.
I have little context for those games, and even I didn't feel like he was Nathan Drake because Nathan Drake has more of a
Did you just feel like he was Spider-Man?
Yeah.
To be
He
fair,
plays-
it's so. I almost
He
feel
plays
bad
it well.
for the
He
kid
plays
because
it-
he's
you
going to be stuck typecasted now.
I
Because
almost
if
feel
he's-
bad for anybody whose first movie is in the MCU.
100%.
Because then you just are that character.
You get like,
Well, that
look at how
wasn't his
Mark.
first movie. He was in stuff as a kid, too.
Was it his first big movie though?
Probably.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
that
Can you really
was.
compare what he was in as a kid to what he's in as an adult?
I'm just saying he's been in stuff before. It doesn't look like it was his debut, but it's his breakthrough, and now he's kind of, that's Spider-Man. That's little Spider-Man, which he's getting into his mid to late 20s, so he's not going to be little Spider-Man anymore.
I'll be
That's okay.
And that's fine, but
Because maybe the next trilogy, which they did announce another trilogy with him.
Did
um,
I don't know if that was
I don't know if
actually happening or not.
I don't know if it's going to be Sony or if it's going to. Well, one, they're not going to let all that money go away.
I know it's so much money. It'd be stupid not to continue making.
Number two, it's going to be hard to make the MCU without Spider-Man.
And once they introduced him, I can't imagine the MCU without him. And I realize that he is Sony's character. Sony has all the rights here, but Sony likes money. Who doesn't like money? Why would they not want to?
It would not shock me to see him slip into the Venom universe, though.
I feel like he'd probably make a cameo or two, realistically. I don't know if they'd do like a whole thing, but why not?
If Disney pissed them off enough, they would.
Yeah.
Which
Curious.
Disney be pissing a lot of people off right now. Just saying.
Yeah, Disney do Disney.
I mean, for maybe the right reasons, but
Well, yeah, that whole thing. But anyway, we're going to talk about No Way Home. I will say, I feel like they did a Spider-Man. It's almost as good as Spider-Verse, but I still think it's like the next best Spider-Man movie, period. I feel like it was just so much about Peter Parker and who he is and how he learns to be the man that he wants to be.
you think this is the second best Spider-Man movie of all time?
Yes.
Even better than the first two Raimi?
Yes.
I disagree with that.
Interesting.
I think there's way better character stuff in those first two Raimi movies. But
It's-
this movie
it's hard.
has to build off of that.
it's hard
It
now
does.
because the characters exist in both movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
It's like
it can't exist without it.
No. And that's
what's
where
his
I think...
name?
Tobey Maguire?
No,
What about the
Otto's
Virgos?
name.
Otto Octavius?
Yeah, what's his character? What's
Alfred Molina?
Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
He like he had missed a beat.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, he nailed it. Oh my god.
Although I will say it's funny. I was editing something or working on something as I was watching the Blu-ray, and it auto plays into the double features,
Mhm.
and it eventually got to a featurette where it was like, yeah, I mean, when we were working with Raimi, it was all puppets and stuff, and now it's just CGI.
I was just
So it's just me in a harness doing this.
And he still nails it too. That's the best part. Is that man didn't miss a beat. Like he was able to.
And the de-aging is just
I couldn't even tell they.
comparatively to the rest of de-aging.
Just about anything.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even tell they de-aged them. Like honest to God, like I knew they obviously had to, but like it just fits so well into it.
And Willem Dafoe is the best part of this movie.
Can
Any movie.
we officially say that Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe is to Spider-Man as Heath Ledger was to the Batman. I feel like this is the next best comic book villain we've ever gotten. You guys agree with that? I really feel that way.
Up there for sure.
I can't imagine. I can't think, other than Thanos, I can't think of any other comic book villain that really brings it home the same way he does.
I don't think you can really count Thanos because Thanos doesn't really have a primary adversary in the same way.
Sure.
Because like Batman's primary adversary is the Joker, and meaning that Heath Ledger's Joker was the best Joker. And while it's pretty limited to say that Willem Dafoe's Goblin
because I know we haven't got another
is
Goblin.
The best Goblin, but I literally can't.
But out of
think
any
of
other,
another.
think about all the Spider-Man villains. Nobody owns it as much as he does.
Oh yeah, but that's not. I see what you're saying, and you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But that is also not a thing because of Willem Dafoe. It is a thing because that's always been the thing in the comic. That being said, I cannot imagine another person being Green Goblin. It's just like I can't really imagine another person really embodying the Joker like that. Like, you have your Jared Leto's, didn't work. You have your... Who else has been Joker since then?
Since Leto?
No.
Just in general?
Since
Ledger.
Leto.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin.
Yeah,
That's a different case because it's not
was
really
actually-
a superhero movie at all.
Yeah.
It's just him. And then you've got Barry Kogan, how do you say his name?
the dude in the Batman.
Yeah, the one scene which I can't really compare that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I mean, there's a reason they haven't really done really well with recasting him.
Yeah, that's true. Well, do you have anything else you want to mention really quick about the
Just the way that they redeemed. I've never seen 2 whole movies redeemed in a 10-second clip. Like the way that this movie did it.
People like the Amazing Spider-Man now. They do. I like the
I
first.
I haven't even seen the whole second one just because it's so hard.
The second one's not great, but this one saved, honestly.
It gives him an ending. That's the thing. Like, for as much as those 2 movies, or at least what I've seen, kind of suck,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't get his ending. And then this movie gave him his ending, which I'm happy because he gets his ending in a good movie.
Yes, he does. All right, moving on. Jared, do you want to talk about your movie?
Yes.
Hey, bet you I can guess it.
Oh, what is it?
I'm pretty sure you can
Is
guess
it
it because we talked about this
Multiverse of
beforehand.
Madness?
Oh! What? Are you talking about?
Wait. Why don't you want to talk about the Multiverse of Madness?
Someone
You've
here
not
hasn't seen it.
Yeah. You've not seen it, and it underwhelmed me. And it's a whole thing. It's a very divisive thing. I've heard so many different opinions about it.
That's what I love because I feel like this movie is ripe for conversation. There's so many interesting takes about what works and what doesn't work. But
we're not talking about it.
We're not. What are we talking about?
I'm talking about the second Spider-Man movie, Far From Home. Took me a second. I hate the title.
Let's just go out on a limb here and say that naming convention for those movies is dumb.
Yeah.
Homecoming's not a bad title, but then the other 2 following suit with the home in the title just is confusing. So this one, if I remember correctly, was supposed to start Phase 4. And then when COVID hit, they retroactively made it the end of Phase 3. And then when they started putting movies back out, they pushed it back into Phase 4.
Yeah,
We could be wrong, but for the sake of
pretty
it being confusing, it starts Phase 4, and I'm picking.
Yeah. So why is it your favorite?
Well, Spider-Man movies tend to be pretty good, usually, except for the Andrew Garfield ones. I really liked this right out of the theater. I was like, this is a nice first step after Endgame. We're actually talking about... They did some fun stuff with that at the beginning, and it's setting up a similar thing to Spider-Man 2, where balancing this superhero life with a normal life. He just wants to go on a trip, but his calling keeps getting in the way, whatnot, and he's dealing with Tony's death, spoilers, of course, who doesn't know that at this point? That's different than your Mandalorian spoilers.
I know that one.
But I really like it. I think it softened quite a bit in the almost 3 years since it came out for me. There's a lot of stuff in there I don't like, and I don't want to just talk about the stuff I don't like, because there's a lot of stuff in there I like. The Led Zeppelin joke was really funny, where it's AC/DC. I love Led Zeppelin. And I go, that's funny. Yeah, he got hit by a train.
He did get hit by a train.
Ow. That scene with him and Happy on that ship.
Oh.
That hits hard, where he's like, I'm missing too. I was like, and now with the context of the third movie, now Happy doesn't even know who he is anymore.
Yeah.
That kind of changes that. It doesn't make that movie better. It just changes certain aspects of it. Because
that was a shocking relationship to lose. Not to go back to my movie, obviously. But that was a shocking relationship.
That was
when that happened in the graveyard, I was like, "Oh, it's Happy." Oh, she doesn't know him.
My heart just dropped to my feet. I'm like, no,
but I'm trying not to talk about the bad things because it's not like there's bad things.
Well, but
there's
I'm
stupid things.
I just don't want to only.
I just don't because a lot of the action is fun, and when it's an actual multiverse thing, I'm liking it a lot.
There was
and then they do Iron Man 3.
Yeah, it's not that extreme.
It's pretty close in the moment.
When it happens, you're like, okay, that's weird, and then you think, oh, that is what Mysterio does. But then you think farther, you're like, I was just lied to for a whole movie, which is what Mysterio does, yes, but this movie went from being cool to being not boring, but just kind of like, it's not unique anymore.
What are the stakes?
They're drones. So that finale, when he's just fighting drones, it's boring.
I know it's not the most
creative. It's not creative. It's drones.
I know it's not creative. I was going to say it's not the most heartfelt stakes because you're right. It's just drones.
Because before it was those like weird big multiverse creatures. It was cool.
Yeah. I
was like, can we just lean into this stuff?
But I get it because he is a magician. He is a technician. That's who.
It's one of those things. It fits the character and it hurts the movie. But I still like the movie. The stuff with him and MG is really good. They have great chemistry, obviously.
Yeah.
Some of the high school characters are a little annoying because we have more of them.
Mainly Flash.
I like Ned. They kind of did Ned dirty a little bit in this movie. He's a little over annoying in this when he's usually just fun. But and Flash is fine.
I love all the theories that Ned is going to turn into the Hobgoblin.
Dude, I am all on board for Ned turning into the Hobgoblin.
They going back so after having seen a lot of videos that pointed out, going back and watching all three of those movies, they drop a lot of crap about it.
Well, especially I don't remember how soon they put. I think it was probably for the promotion for No Way Home, where I don't know if they put out Jacob Barlow was working out, but he was getting ripped and into shape, and I'm like, I wonder why he could just be doing it for his health, or he could be doing it because he's gonna play a supervillain. Maybe he might play a villain in the future. I really want him to play a villain in the future.
Especially now that he doesn't know Peter.
I know.
But you were right. That whole multiverse thing was like a gut punch. You're right. It wasn't as bad as the Iron Man 3 thing,
but it's still
it's a way to take Mysterio, which is a really cool character that operates off. I don't want to say it's magic, but it's not drone.
But
it's like his own power.
Yeah. But then how else would you adapt Mysterio into modern times?
So you say that, but they have magic. After Doctor Strange, Thor straight up said in his first movie, your science are magic. They are one and the same. And we're like, okay, whatever. Yeah. And then Doctor Strange is like, oh no, there is magic.
Have him actually be like a multiversal person, or figured out a way to tap into the multiverse.
They didn't have to because this came. When did Far From Home come out again?
Like a couple months.
2019. It was July 2019.
So do you think by then they were fully getting ready to do multiversal stuff?
I don't know because
everything stopped a couple months after that. Yeah. So who knows what their plan originally was?
Just because if they because you bring a good point. Now we're actually getting the multiverse. Why wouldn't they have just made him?
I wonder if there was such a hard reaction to that and such an outcry for the multiverse that they were just like, yeah, okay.
Maybe, yeah, I'd be curious.
I'd be hard-pressed to believe that was their plan from the beginning. I would be hard-pressed to believe that it was their plan to end up at No Way Home from the beginning of Homecoming.
Yeah, it's hard to know just how far out they're planning all this stuff. Because that brings us up another thing, is at the end of Far From Home, when
the best part of the whole movie is the mid-credits.
Yeah, that is the best ending to a Marvel movie ever.
Wild. When I remember seeing that the first time, like, what? Well,
it's like
my brain was just trying to comprehend what the heck just happened.
You get a great cameo of J.K. Simmons. You're like, oh man, that's great. Oh, I love how he's doing it. Like an Infowars. Like, oh, that's great. And then it shows Mysterio, and he goes, oh no. And then he goes, that's Peter Parker. And I remember sitting forward like what? And then we had to wait two years, just over 2 years to see the fallout of that.
Mm-hmm.
But not to go back to my movie, they handled that beautifully.
Yeah, they did. But and then I was also going to mention the way they brought in the what's the alien race in the
Kree?
The Kree, yeah. Because remember when they were like disguised in the whole movie? Like that was an interesting way to like take.
Isn't Fury like on another planet?
Yeah.
Or in space or something?
Yeah. So like that just makes it. I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
That's all
that
a Captain Marvel thing, though, isn't it?
I think that's probably going to tie into the next Captain Marvel. Or the
next.
Lawrence
Captain Marvel.
Oh, absolutely. No, she's still definitely going to be.
Okay.
She's working at the unicorn store.
Huh?
It's a stupid rhyme because she's in that movie, Unicorn Store or whatever it is on Netflix that came out after Captain Marvel. And Sam Jackson's in it. I hear it's terrible. When I saw it, like a unicorn store, I'll make a unicorn store joke. I don't even see it, and neither of you got it. Yeah.
Well, aim for effort.
One last thing I have to say about Far From Home is that when it hits with Mysterio stuff, like all the stuff where he's going through like the imaginary sequences, that is straight up out of my imagination from like the Spider-Man show and every Spider-Man video game I've ever interacted with.
The Iron Man suit coming out of the grave.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Like,
that entire
they really do a wonderful job of handling his trauma from Tony.
Why was that? Because that scene you're talking about was my favorite fight scene in the whole movie. Why was that not the
why wasn't it something more mind-bending instead of boobs?
Because like that scene, the movie could have ended after that.
That's when he gets hit by the train.
Yes, it was.
Hey, Tobey Maguire got hit by a train in his second movie too.
Oh my!
He stopped the train though.
that just makes him.
Tom Howard just went, I got hit by a train.
Ow! To be fair, if you got hit by a train, I'm pretty sure that would hurt.
Hey, but Jake Gyllenhaal, he was the train.
He was the train. Also, they gave those sunglasses to Peter, a high schooler. He launches missiles at a kid that he didn't like.
Yeah,
probably not a great idea. And then he just gives it away to this guy he barely knows. Yeah. And I get it's supposed to be he doesn't want responsibility, he's trying to pawn it off, but it's like, that's a bit extreme. If it was like, I don't want the key to one of Tony's cars, and there just happens to be something important in there, sure. But no, you gave him like a whole defense system at the snap of his fingers. That's kind of extreme.
I feel like
for like a 17-year-old.
I know you just like threw that out probably without thinking about it, but I feel like giving him a key to his car, that actually would have worked really well.
Does he have his license?
And the glasses or whatever were in the car.
Yeah, I feel like that was
we fixed it. Just. There's a car. The reason and Tony's reasoning for leaving is there's something important in there, but he doesn't think about it. Maybe there's like a clue hidden, and then when the car's gone, it's like, I gotta go get that. That's a great
device.
Look at that.
We fixed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that 100% fixes it.
Okay, it doesn't, but it makes it a little bit better, I feel like.
Well, 100% would fix it was just if
No
Mysterio
drone.
was actually
Actually
the
magic.
multiverse, had access,
Yeah.
or just was like tapped into the multiverse and could use its magic or something like
And
that.
could take his helmet off and put goldfish in it.
I mean, to be fair, okay. You already said it, yeah. Yes, I know it's Mysterio, but it made sense that the things were projections because that's Mysterio's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that it was the drones making the projections
Yeah.
and not Mysterio.
If it was actual magic, it would have been better.
Yeah.
All right. So, my favorite movie, which is fantastic, by the way, and honestly, I do want to take this time to pick your brains as to why you don't like it because I love it so much. My favorite movie is Shang-Chi.
And the Legend of the Boring.
And the Legend of the Ten Rings, because I thought it was brilliant the way that they called back to the first. Sorry,
I can't even finish it.
It's about
It just-
goes to the
it was just a word text.
cave.
My whole train just got thrown out of my. Okay, yeah, I know.
I love he got hit by the train.
I love. Oh my god! I like that they called. I like that they called back to the first Iron Man. I thought that was a clever way to do that.
Yes, it made me
And
want to watch that movie instead.
And I thought that the creativity in this was out of the park.
Explain.
Okay, so I mean, you have to. First off, this is his first movie. Okay, Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Sean's as Simu Liu was.
Okay, it's his first movie. So
Yes.
it's the first movie for a new character.
Yes,
Continue.
and I the way
How's that
they.
unique?
What's that?
I said it's
I didn't say that's what was unique about it. That was me setting the scene.
Okay, keep going. Well, this is creative. How is this creative?
The way they built the world, and also, okay, quick sign up from it being
How did they
creative.
build it?
I absolutely love that we got into Asian culture and Asian heritage, where no other movie in the MCU has done that yet, and I think this did it perfectly. The way they built upon the old fighting styles, like when his mom had the she was more grace, and his dad had the just had the more power just right from the rings. Their fight scene, that's where I thought the creativity and them setting up the world worked together perfectly, and it really made me love just how this specific universe worked. Is that fair?
You know what I did enjoy about the movie? There were parts of it that were kind of. Actually, that mid-credit scene is really great
Oh yeah, that was
because it's got long.
Which one was the best part? Oh, that was the mid one.
the Hotel California.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was like,
That
wow,
was so
I wish the
good.
movie was as funny.
But
The
anyway,
movie was hilarious. That's another thing that I wanted to bring up was him and Aquafina. I thought their chemistry was perfection, and I'm really happy that they didn't feel the need to give them a love story. They were just good friends. I feel like the majority of comic book days nowadays.
Weren't they holding hands at the end in the bar?
So you can hold hands and be friends.
Not that way.
Yes, you can.
no, they were definitely dating at the end.
Yeah,
No,
I think they were.
they absolutely were not.
They just didn't. They just kind of threw it in there.
I did
Anyway.
not. I never got any sense of them dating.
You know
Not
what?
at all.
You know
I
what?
thought they were just really good friends, and I thought their chemistry. And I thought Aquafina was fantastic in this movie.
Oh,
You just really understood, like, just right from the beginning, like that she was just trying to fit in. She was trying to find a world from herself, separate from her parents.
I think Dickey relates to this movie quite a bit.
I think he relates to Aquafina because both of them are annoying.
I also relate to Simu Liu because, hey, really quick, Simu Liu is a fantastic person. I've watched him since his first show, Kim's Convenience, and he was hilarious in that. And as soon as I heard that he was casted in this, I'm like, oh, heck yes, let's get him. All of the interviews I've seen with him, he just comes across as a very genuine person. And I think he was able to bring that into Shang. The way that, like I said, it's just him discovering himself, him discovering if he wants to be more like his dad and go out and just be a killer and get revenge, or if he wants to be more like his mom and just be like more hearing and just more fluent with his fighting style. I thought, jumping down to the end of the movie, the way that he was able to bring those two fighting styles together to stop his dad was perfect.
How does it work?
How does what?
The rings.
What do you mean?
There's two sets of them.
Yeah, how do they work?
They're like magical conduits. I kind of feel like.
Well, how do they work?
Who cares how they work?
It's
feel
not
like- I
important.
feel like
For a movie
you
about
are-
the 10 rings, we sure don't know much about the 10 rings.
That doesn't. The movie's not about the 10 rings. Let's be real here.
So
It's Shang-Chi and the legend
Wow.
of the 10
Oh,
rings.
wow.
It's not about
legend.
I almost called
What's
you
the legend?
true.
That's the whole point. Is that they're legendary.
My
Nobody
gosh.
understands.
No,
how
there
they
is
work.
a legend. What is it? I honestly can't remember. What is it?
That is the freaking legend. It's his dad.
There's no legend.
His dad has used them for so long.
Isn't the legend?
How do they work?
Aren't the 10 rings in the hidden village? Whatever it's called, where he finds the mom. Didn't he steal the 10 rings from her?
He might.
I don't remember. I'll be honest. I don't remember. I'm guessing.
It was something like.
But I
of
think
that
it was something like that.
nature.
Because she couldn't take the rings from there or something.
And also now, I talked about his dad so many times. Let's talk about his dad. Tony Leung is so flipping good in this movie.
Well, yeah, he's the only good part of the movie outside of Wong.
But okay, so I'm getting into why I like it. Why do you guys not like this?
Okay, I want to start with something I liked about it. I did like the overall kung fu movie sort of vibe.
Yeah.
I do not feel like they leaned hard enough into it.
No.
That was the
Interesting.
biggest thing that I did not. The things that I liked about this movie, I liked a lot, but I did not feel like they leaned hard enough.
I thought they leaned into it perfectly.
They don't lean hard enough into the cool non-MCU stuff. They still make it an MCU
Yeah.
property that holds it back. That's what happens to a lot of MCU.
And the
I
whole
also
idea-
just
the
used
whole
that
idea-
because of you guys.
And the whole idea that his mom is calling out to, where's that name? Tony.
Just call him Tony.
Tony.
It's-
That could have been a whole movie.
And it was the whole movie. Like
It
that
wasn't though.
It really was. Like
It wasn't though.
It was
No,
like
he's talking
the
about
last
screen time.
quarter of
Oh,
it.
he's
We
actual-
don't see it that much.
you don't have to see it to know that it's happening. They mention
They
that it
don't
happens.
reveal
and
that
that's
it's
the-
happening until the last third of the movie.
Yeah, because
But that's the most interesting part because it's driving him.
the first 2/3 of the movie, like I said, it felt like I just wanted to see, like, from the first time that we saw him working out, or actually no, that was not, I don't know if that was him working out or not, but like they put it like on the dresses, like getting snappy, ready to go, like thinking, oh, so he's like a high baller, like he's like.
Are you talking about Sean?
What are you talking
Yes.
about? I
We're
know what
talking
you're
about
talking about. How is it?
Oh, you're okay.
What
We're
is
talking
going
about different
on?
things, man.
Well, I was talking about like close to the beginning of the movie
So
where
he likes the part of the movie that I didn't like.
Yes.
The MCU
Why is Aquafina with him too?
they're just
They've been
friends.
friends.
They've been
Yeah,
friends their
No,
entire
why does
life.
he bring her with him when he knows it's
Because
dangerous?
they've been friends their entire life, and she
because
wants to.
She's stubborn and won't.
That's what I was gonna say. She's stubborn, and she didn't want to just let him do it by himself.
Yeah, the second I realized she's going to be in this whole movie, I groaned. I was like, I've seen 2 movies where I liked her:
He's one
The
of-
Farewell
I was
and The
gonna say
Bad
Farewell.
Guys.
Oh,
She's okay.
yeah.
She's okay in Raya. I thought she was going to be a lot more annoying, and she wasn't. She's fine in the second Jumanji movie.
I still.
Everything
really
else I
love
see
Ryan.
her in.
I thought she was fantastic in The Farewell.
Yeah, which proves she can do a dramatic performance.
It is just
Instead, they have
Jared
her
generally
lean
being
into.
annoyed by her.
Oh my gosh!
All I'm saying about this movie is one, I kind of think it was overly long. I think you could have probably cut out the whole middle bit with the sister. I just honestly think you could have cut that out. I also thought that not knocking the artists, of course, I thought that the VFX were lacking in comparison to.
Yeah, they look kind of.
Interesting. I thought the CG was great. I
You
really.
can't see anything.
Blurry.
The whole thing with the dragon.
I
Ugh.
thought the
weird.
dragon looked awesome. Just the whole way that the dragon on
It
top of
looked
the
like
world.
jellyfish eyes. You ever see jellyfish eyes? That's your homework. Go home. Now it's a better movie than
Wait.
jellyfish eyes.
When we say jellyfish eyes, are we talking like the pupils from Rick and Morty?
No, we're talking. We're talking. It's a movie made by like an artist. Like I think he's a painter. I'm probably wrong if anyone knows what I'm talking about. And he made basically a Pokemon movie, but it's not Pokemon. It's kind of like that, and the effects are really cartoony in the bad way. They look really funny.
Also, the last I thought of something else. The way that they redeemed Trevor. I thought
I liked him in the movie.
He was great in this.
Like how the Planet of the Apes thing, those were apes. It was acting. I was like, okay, that's it's stupid, but I'm laughing.
Well, and in the first when he, oh my god, why can't I remember the little Crawley boy's name?
It's like
Maurice. Was it Maurice?
Yeah, he's Maurice.
It was Maurice. When he's like, Maurice, you're real! Like that made me laugh so hard. And I just love that they brought him back into this. Like, after Iron Man 3, I thought we'd never see him again. And then he popped up in the game, and I'm like, heck yeah! More Ben Kingsley? How can you go wrong?
But I won't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Again, the stuff I like is not the MCU stuff. It's stupid stuff like that, or like the actual cool fight stuff, except for the Aquaman.
Yeah, I think you're right. I never heard it said like that, but the MCU part of it is
the MCU holds movies back.
I mean, that's
what happened to Doctor Strange. That's what the worst parts of Ragnarok's great. The worst parts are the MCU part. The second they go back to Asgard,
that is true.
There's cool stuff, but when it starts to fit the MCU stuff, it starts to get lame.
I mean, it's just it's just tricky though, because they're making movies. They have to make that one. Like they have to make it time the whole universe.
I know,
and so
I know why they do it. It's just
as long as
this whole thing is not making good movies. It's just continuing a cash cow.
I don't think that. I think they make great movies for their universe.
Oh, yeah, in that context, yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely.
I don't even know if I'd say great because when more than 2/3 of your catalog is not rewatchable, and at least half of it are just meh movies.
We counted, wasn't it like 10?
It was like 10 out of 20 some are actually rewatchable. And they've gotten better over the last couple of years in letting directors have voices, but then they still pull back on the leash way too much.
I mean, you kind of have.
I kind of like Chloe Zhao on Eternals.
Eternals was
bad. Not as bad as Black Widow, but
I don't usually argue that a movie should have been 2 movies, but that should have been 2.
That was too much to fit in one.
Yeah. I did like the Bionicle guy, but he zooms in at the end to take them all.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's what I called him. I'm like, in the theater, that looks like a Bionicle.
Oh my god. Okay, well,
we've gone over this
so
underwhelming movie.
Thank you, everyone, for letting us talk about this fantastic movie that came out a couple years ago. But anyway, this is our favorites.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, it was 2020, right? A couple years ago.
For what?
Shang-Chi.
2021.
That was 21? I thought it was 2020.
Yeah, none came out in 2020.
Black Widow.
It was 2021.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was like July.
You know what? Time doesn't exist anymore.
It was July for Black Widow last year, and then it was Shang-Chi in September, and then Eternals was November, and Spider-Man was December.
I feel like Spider-Man was the one where the directors got the most leash.
Yeah.
And it shows how much better it is.
Anyway, thank you everybody for listening to this very thoughtful and interesting discussion. Jared, where can the good people find us online?
Yeah.
And if you mention So Help Me God.
If you don't want to be like Shang-Chi and you want to be funny, go to our TikTok. You can
Shang-Chi is the best.
Then you can also check out our Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And hey, if you really want to keep listening to us and our bad opinions.
Hey.
You just said our bad opinions.
You know, that I heard. I can't verify it.
Through the grapevine.
I heard it, but I can't verify it. You know TikTok? You know TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Right, TikTok. You hear the offset TikTok? It's pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
Funny, man.
Every Tuesday and Thursday, dropping a new one.
Yeah.
You don't.
And you can, but if you want to keep listening to us for some reason, you can come right here to YouTube if you're watching. Please like and subscribe, comment. And then also, you can head on over to Stitcher and Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify and give us a download.
Yes, thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for more fantastic discussions about good movies coming out later. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. Our favorites. Thank you for calling that in. Adios. Bye.